Hogan for governor because even fellow Democrats know Ben Jealous is too extreme for Maryland.
Tonight, the sprint to the finish. Inside the president's campaign playbook. Is he giving up on the House while locking in on immigration, attacking Democrats for being too soft, and announcing a controversial change? Tonight, President Trump one-on-one with Jon Karl. The stunning admission about his version of the truth.
When I can, I tell the truth.
All of this as Democrats unleash their star power. Why Oprah Winfrey is entering the midterms. Deadly storms, 9 tornadoes reported across 3 states. A sheriff's deputy killed in her vehicle, trapped upside down in flash flooding. The system pushing its way into the Northeast over the next 24 hours. Also tonight, a tragic day for children just trying to go to school. 5 children and 2 adults hit by a car at a bus stop in Tampa. Also, a child killed in Pennsylvania, the driver claiming they had no idea. The worldwide protest at Google. Thousands of employees coast to coast after the reported $90 million payout to an executive accused of sexual misconduct. The scare at sea, the cruise ship listing to one side shortly after leaving port. Tables sliding, items falling off shelves, passengers calling it pure chaos. The attack in a high school cafeteria, the vice principal kicked and beaten. And your money. The day after Halloween and Black Friday sales are already starting. $1,000 off a 55-inch TV. Tonight, the best days to shop for electronics, clothes, even toys.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
And good evening, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday night. I'm Tom Yamas, in for David. And we begin with the race to the finish in the midterm elections. Just 5 days to go. President Trump, the campaigner-in-chief, with a frenzy of rallies and political moves. Today, talking even tougher about immigration, announcing plans for more restrictions on asylum and plans to build tent cities for migrants waiting to come in. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl one-on-one with the president on the military buildup at the border and his campaign promise to tell the truth.
In these final days of the campaign, President Trump is using the trappings and power of the presidency to make illegal immigration a central issue. Tonight, bashing Democrats from the White House.
You can come up with the greatest border plan, the greatest immigration plan. You won't get one vote from a Democrat.
He's promising a new executive order to make it harder to seek asylum, and talking about how he's sending U.S. troops to the border to stop a caravan of migrants.
They will do the job. They're setting up right now, and they're preparing.
He has promised up to 15,000 military personnel. That's roughly the same number of U.S. troops fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan. But the troops at the border can only offer logistical support for the Border Patrol. Backstage at his rally in Florida, I asked him about that.
The active duty military, you know the law. I mean, you're the president.
Yep.
They can't arrest people crossing the border. They can't.
It depends. It depends.
National emergency covers
a lot of territory. They can't invade our country. You look at that; it almost looks like an invasion. It really does look like an invasion.
Those caravans are an invasion?
Oh, I think so.
They're some of the poorest people in the world coming up here.
Yeah, there's some dangerous people. These are some rough people.
In fact, there is no invasion. The caravan of migrants fleeing poverty and violence is tonight some 900 miles from the U.S. border. They are coming to ask for asylum, not to invade. It's one of many exaggerations and falsehoods from the president in the final days of the campaign. As a candidate, Trump once promised never to tell a lie.
I will never lie to you.
Can you tell me now, honestly, have you kept to that promise at all times? Have you always been truthful?
Well, I try. I mean, I do try. I think you try, too. You say things about me that are not necessarily correct. I do try, and I always want to tell the truth. When I can, I tell the truth. I mean, sometimes it turns out to be where something happens that's different or there's a change, but I always like to be truthful.
Jonathan Karl joins us now in studio. And John, you had a chance to ask the president about the midterms, and he gave you his take, and it's aligning with what you're seeing in his schedule for the upcoming days?
Well, in terms of the schedule, he's going only to states he's won, and he's campaigning for governor candidates and for Senate candidates. You get the sense, talking to the president and talking to those around him, that he is all but resigned to losing the House. and hoping they will control the Senate.
A major development tonight. We'll see what happens on election night. Jonathan, thank you so much. And we hope you'll stay with us for election night coverage. George, David, and myself and our entire ABC News Powerhouse political team, the 2018 vote results as they come in, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. We do move on now, though, to the new school bus tragedies. The danger growing, especially as some children now wait in the dark for it to arrive. This morning, 5 children and 2 adults hit by a car waiting for the bus in Tampa. And in Pennsylvania, a child was killed. The driver claiming he didn't even know. Here's ABC's Victor Oquendo.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
This cell phone video showing the dramatic aftermath of another horror at a school bus stop. Scattered backpacks and shoes, police in Tampa now investigating what led a vehicle to barrel into 2 adults and at least 5 children waiting to be picked up. 2 of the children suffering serious injuries.
There's a lady that was holding one of her, the little boy, and the little boy, when she got hit, the little boy flew out of her hand. He hit the ground and she flipped and hit her face.
The ambulance rushing to the scene also getting into an accident. 2 firefighters transported to the hospital as a precaution. While in Pennsylvania, police say a motorist was unaware that they fatally struck a 7-year-old waiting at a bus stop near his home this morning. The school bus driver arriving to find him.
Children that were getting on the bus have been struck by a vehicle.
These incidents following the death of a child in Mississippi on Wednesday, and these 3 siblings killed while crossing this country road in Indiana. The hood of the pickup that hit the children mangled.
In the morning, the afternoons, we got kids coming and going from home to the bus stop, going to school. We have to pay attention. You know, there is a major problem of distracted driving in this country.
Police don't know what caused the accident at this school bus stop here in Tampa, but the driver is cooperating with police. So far, no charges have been filed. Tom?
A dangerous day for kids just trying to go to school. All right, Victor, thank you. We turn now to the weather, and a severe line of storms that menaced Halloween night turned deadly overnight and now stretches from the Gulf to the Great Lakes. This possible twister in Texas, at least 9 reported tornadoes, downed trees, destroying this home in St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, near Houston. A sheriff's deputy died on her way to a water rescue when her vehicle turned upside down in rising floodwaters. ABC's Marcus Moore is in the storm zone.
Tornadoes, torrential rain, and wind turning deadly tonight in the Deep South. Trees crashing down onto homes, trapping some residents. This possible tornado near Katy, Texas. 9 twisters reported across the region. To the north in Arlington, the Prestonwood Lake Dam may be in danger of imminent failure. Residents downstream warned to be on alert. And back outside Houston, a man narrowly escaping being crushed by a falling tree.
Are you all right, man?
We're told tonight that he's going to be okay. But in Waller County,
I broke in a window, but I can't get the doors open.
a desperate effort to save 23-year-old Sheriff's Deputy Lauren Vasquez. Her patrol car sliding off a road, landing upside down in a water-filled ditch while responding to a water rescue call. Vasquez didn't survive. And in Mississippi, a 19-year-old college student killed when the car she was riding in hit a fallen tree.
Tom, more than 100,000 people lost power in these storms, and as you can see just behind me here, there's a lot of damage left to clean up as these storms move east. Tom.
Marcus Moore right in front of that destruction there in Houston. Marcus, thank you. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is here now with more. And Rob, that storm front is now reaching up all the way to the East Coast?
Yeah, it's still moving east, Tom, and you know, with so many confirmed tornadoes, it reminds us that this time of year we can get tornadoes that persist overnight. Tonight, though, I think the main threat will be heavy rain. We still have flood watches out for the Ohio River Valley. Check it out on the radar. The rain stretches from St. Louis back all the way through the Carolinas. Tomorrow, an upper-level push kind of consolidates it over the Appalachians with another severe line getting through the Carolinas. And then by tomorrow night, we're across the I-95 corridor. Tomorrow night into Saturday morning, Hartford, Boston, New York. That's when the stormiest time is going to be. A pretty rough start to this weekend. Tom?
All right, Rob, thank you. Next tonight, another big story we're following, the worldwide walkout at Google. Thousands of employees walking off the job today from Singapore to Dublin, London, and across the U.S. Workers protesting the company's handling of sexual harassment complaints. Some executives accused of misconduct reportedly receiving millions in severance packages. Here's ABC's Kana Whitworth.
In New York City, the sign, Time's Up Tech. Across the country in San Francisco, Don't Be Evil, a reference to Google's former motto. the scene repeated as employees in the majority of Google's offices around the world protested the company's handling of sexual misconduct allegations.
We don't lead the way, nobody else will.
The walkout coming exactly 1 week after the New York Times reported on a $90 million severance package for Andy Rubin, the creator of the Android software. The report says the payout came after Google concluded a sexual misconduct claim against him was credible. He denies all allegations and says the New York Times story contains inaccuracies. Protesters want the company to end pay inequity, issue reports on sexual harassment, and create a better process for reporting complaints. Tom, Google saying tonight in a statement they're taking in all their feedback so they can turn their ideas into action. Tom?
Kana Whitworth for us tonight. Kana, thank you. Next to the scare at sea, a Carnival cruise ship listing to one side. Chaos in this dining room. Take a look. Dishes smashed all over the floor. The crew righted the ship, but some passengers cut their trip short. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, drama on the high seas. These images coming in from a Carnival cruise ship still at sea, showing utter chaos in the dining room. Plates broken on the floor, bottles on the floor too in the ship's stores. Passengers say it happened just hours after their Caribbean cruise started. Carnival Cruise Line saying a technical issue caused the ship to list on Sunday. That means it leaned to one side. Some passengers so afraid they reportedly got on the next plane home when they got to the Dominican Republic. Tonight, passenger David Cruz calling ABC News from the ship.
Glasses are falling off the table, the bottles of water, the plates, everything is shattering, and the ship is still leaning, and people are now starting to get very chaotic, very scary. They're screaming, they're crying. So much goes through your mind in those 60 seconds. It's pretty much your life flashes before your eyes.
And Tom, Carnival says the technical issue lasted for 1 minute and never affected the safe operation of the ship. They say everything is now working as it should. Tom?
Gio, thank you. From Pittsburgh tonight, a court appearance for the suspect in the synagogue massacre. Robert Bowers pleaded not guilty to a 44-count indictment, including hate crimes. He could face the death penalty. 3 more victims were buried today, including a husband and a wife and a dentist, all members of the Tree of Life Synagogue. Next, we turn to Georgia, where the race for governor got some star power today. Oprah Winfrey campaigned for Democrat Stacey Abrams. Oprah even surprising voters going door to door. You see it right there. Abrams' opponent, Georgia's Secretary of State Brian Kemp, will have the GOP's biggest star rallying for him, the president. ABC's Deborah Roberts traveling to her home state of Georgia with the state of the race tonight.
With just 5 days to go, one of the biggest stars of all dropping into this historic race.
So I'm here today to support a change maker.
Oprah Winfrey campaigning for Democrat Stacey Abrams, who could become the nation's first black female governor.
This was the moment. 2018 is our time because we can't wait any longer.
Today, with Republican candidate Brian Kemp, Vice President Mike Pence.
I'm kind of a big deal, too. I got a message for all Stacey Abrams' liberal Hollywood friends. This ain't Hollywood. This is Georgia.
I asked Abrams about that criticism.
Are you running a state campaign or a national campaign?
We're running a locally grounded campaign that is nationally known.
Kemp, too, has national backing from President Trump.
As you all know, this race is a battle for the soul of our state.
But as Georgia's Secretary of State, charged with supervising elections, Kemp's battling accusations that he's trying to block votes from Democrats.
We have an opponent who is an architect of voter suppression.
Critics say Kemp is stalling voter registrations of 53,000 Georgia residents because applications don't exactly match their IDs, like a missing initial or signature that looks slightly off.
Hey, how are you?
Kemp declined a formal interview, but I caught up with him at one of his rallies. I asked about the accusations.
What about voter suppression? People are saying that
that's a myth. That is a myth that the Democrats bring out every 2 years.
With 70% of the tied-up applications belonging to black voters, I asked again.
So what do you say to those who say that you're trying to suppress the vote? What do you say?
I'm not trying to suppress. The numbers don't lie about that fact. Minority participation is up 23% in Georgia. 23%. That's what you should report and not believe this BS about voter suppression.
Amidst the controversy, one thing's clear. Voter enthusiasm in Georgia is sky high. And today, Oprah working to maintain the momentum.
For anybody here who has an ancestor who didn't have the right to vote, and you are choosing not to vote wherever you are in this state, in this country, you are dishonoring your family.